shirt, right? It also makes like a really loud
Sometimes
sound.
when people move, it rubs against the fabric.
Sometimes when people they talk and they like
Yeah,
you hear like a big thud. You hear like
Or your beard getting in the
right.
way.
That happens too. I have to be careful, right?
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's see if your microphone.
Oh, testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Can you hear me?
Use your loud voice.
I don't have any other ones.
Are you ready, Rabbi?
Ready.
Welcome to A Connection is a Connection, the show where we take a break from business talk and dive into the personal side of things. Today we're sitting down with Rabbi Bryski to uncover the stories and quirks and passions that may make him tick. Let's have some fun and get to know him like never before.
Ooh.
First, give a warm welcome to our guest, Rabbi. Woo!
Yay!
We're so excited to be here. Let's keep it light and fun, so let's hop into some questions. But
I have a great audience. I mean, today's
great,
audience
right?
is amazing. So many people came to see me. Wow.
We're so excited. Just you wait.
Wow.
Let's hop into some questions, but first, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Sure. My name is Yossi Bryski. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and made my way to Diego, California in about 2002 with my wife and one child. We were there for about 2 years, moved to Arizona, Scottsdale, and now we have 6 children, and we've been here for 18 years. Wow. While I was here, I was with Chabad, I was with Young Israel as another synagogue, and then came to CBT, that's a Congregation Beth Tefillah with Rabbi Pinchas Alush, very dear friend of mine from since I was a teenager, and started working with an organization. I became a director of alternative sentencing, which is a department within the Aleph Institute, which really advocates for incarcerated individuals. My particular role is to advocate for alternatives to incarceration at the sentencing hearings of various defendants that have no priors and non-violent offenses, and to advocate for rehabilitation rather than incarceration.
Wow.
And that's what I've been doing now for about 10 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And you're the rabbi here too.
Yes, I'm just a simple Jew, as they say. I'd rather just be a simple Jew with a simple, straightforward relationship with God. It happens to be that I took the necessary tests to be ordained as a rabbi, but I'd like to think of myself as one of the people here, which I am.
Yes, you are for sure. Well, we're so excited. Let's hop in some questions.
Sure, I'm ready.
Livardi, the future of travel and freedom. Livardi is a members-only platform that gives you access to unbeatable prices on hotels, resorts, cruises, car rentals, you name it. No blackout dates, no hidden fees, just real savings every time you book. And the best part? You can actually get paid to share this with others. So if you're someone who loves to travel, save money, and make an impact, this is for you. Join the Livardi family and let's build a life with no limits. Livardi, DJ at golivardi.com. Travel smarter, live freer.
Ready.
All right, Rabbi, are you ready?
I think so.
You're stuck in an elevator for 3 hours with your worst enemy. What's your game plan?
That's what we're starting with, huh? I would probably wait another 3 hours after that, and then after about 6 hours, notify my enemy that we're actually not stuck and the elevator does work. I was just not letting. I made believe like it was. I had pressed the button just to get. I'll do anything to torture him. So yeah, that's probably what I would do.
Oh my gosh, I was not expecting that. That's awesome.
What's one thing you've never done that people would be shocked to learn?
Something I've never done.
Oh, I'm sorry, that you've done.
I think people are. I don't know why they're shocked that I went skydiving here in Arizona when I first came out here. They're shocked maybe because they think my beard doesn't allow for proper aerodynamics. I don't know why they're shocked. It just happens to be that we won it in some part of some kind of auction or something, and I was ecstatic. It was a great experience. It was very special. It made me think about all the people who do this for in the military, and it just felt very, very cool. The thrill of free fall is like nothing else.
You jumped out of
Wow.
Yeah, in Eloy, Arizona, about halfway down to Tucson.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, and it wasn't
Yeah.
scary at all?
There's that's part of the thrill is when you're going with the first time you go, you have to go with somebody else. So when the person is walking toward, first of all, when they open the door of the plane, it just feels wrong.
Yeah.
Like the door is not supposed to open when you're 13,000 feet in the air. So that already like gives you a jolt. And then as he's walking, I want to walk with him. I want to enjoy this experience, but my brain, it's confusing signals coming from the brain. Like I want to go, but my feet are not listening. They're not actually moving towards the door, the open door. So it was just a very fun internal experience, like making my way there. Of course, once you jump out, the fear is gone, and all you have is the thrill. It's phenomenal.
It's just the leading up point.
Yeah, yeah. But for some reason, people are they just assume that young people do it, or people who have a death wish. I don't know. It's not. It's probably less dangerous than most things we do.
How often do you hear Rabbi skydiving?
No.
I don't know.
Is there a video?
Is it?
There sure is. I believe so. Yeah, there was
Can you
someone.
get the video for us?
I can try. I don't have it, but
Again.
oh, absolutely.
Really?
I mean, there is a part of me that wants to try new, like a bungee jumping. Maybe I haven't done that. My friends have, so I'm kind of
That's
jealous.
fun.
Yeah, that sounds like it's a lot. It actually sounds like it's a bit more of a thrill. But we'll get there when we get there.
Do a flip in the air.
Yeah. I want to start doing these kinds of things with my kids. I mean, it's a lot of fun to join them, and they like it too. So
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Next one. What was the worst tan you've ever had?
I just remember lots of times when I got really burned badly with, because there was cloud cover, and I thought that, but most recently, my wife and I went. We went to like the river nearby just to hang out there, and I was very careful, but I missed a spot like by my ankle, and I wasn't wearing shoes or socks, and there's like this little strip of red, and eventually skin peeling. I hate to nauseate people, but it's horrible when you just miss this one spot, and it made me, since we're, these are great questions, but if I can just take it a bit deeper, the importance of details and being detail oriented in life in general is like, what's the big deal? I don't understand. I covered 99.9% of my skin, and I was being very careful. The sun is not forgiving of that last little drop that you forgot to put it on. It's just not. It's how it is. Mm-hmm. And in life also, there's lots of areas where it's okay. Life is forgiving in many instances, but there's times when, especially in the Bible and the Torah, where it says you need to do something very well, and you're like, okay, but I did most of it. Well, that's great, but you don't have a full protection. I'll give you an example. Suntan lotion, the lotion, the stuff you put on is made to protect your skin. We have a commandment to put something on our doorpost that's meant to protect the people inside. And some people will say, okay, it's like a spiritual security alarm. It says so. It says that God protects us when we put this on our doorpost. But like people say, why can't I print it rather than have a scribe write it? Why can't I put it horizontally or vertically rather than the way it's supposed to be, which is on a diagonal? Why does it have to be the Shema prayer? Why can't it be the Ten Commandments? I like the Ten Commandments. It's just, God is not being picky or having OCD. He's just saying this: if you want to have a good life and you want to be compatible with goodness in this world and be in line with what you're supposed to do, this is how you have to do it. If you start complaining and you say, but I don't understand why you didn't pick up the phone. I had one number wrong in my phone number, or I had one letter wrong, or the .com, I missed the dot. One dot means that I can't get through to you. God says, if you want to get through to me, I need you to fill in all these details, and it has to be that way. There's a law, you have to put on your right shoe first and your left shoe second, and then you have to tie your left shoe first and tie your right shoe second. I'm just using one example. There's lots of them like that. And it makes you wonder, like, why is God so detail-oriented? He wants us to be. And, it's like, it's something that I that's what I thought about when besides for the pain that I felt on my ankle, it made me realize that it's sometimes important to try to be perfect. And we're not perfect. Human beings are not perfect. We're not machines. We're not computers. We're not AI. But we have to sometimes try to cover it all and do it to the max as if possible, if we can. So.
That's so true. I
That
never
was-
thought of it
Yes.
like that.
So it was my best 10 in the sense that it taught me the best lesson in life, you know?
There you go.
Yep. Imagine you are sitting on the bench next to God. As you sit together, he smiles at you and asks, "What's on your mind?"
Oh, I feel like he's asking me that all the time, and I feel like he's smiling all the time. When I pray, I'm not trying to just say words. I actually believe it's a conversation. And I think the conversation usually starts with him saying to me, I don't actually hear the voice, but I feel that he's saying to me, what's on your mind? I want to hear from you. And I feel like that's what prayer is. Prayer is a response to God smiling at you and saying, hey, what's on your mind? I actually care. I'm not like your phone that makes you, think that I'm interested in your life and trying to get you to look at me again and again. I'm not like the fake people who are supposedly listening to me, but they're actually interested in hearing how they can benefit from the conversation. I think prayer is the most beautiful part of prayer, is that there's an entity out there that actually cares about every one of the 7 billion people on planet Earth. And he's asking each one, what's on your mind? So if you are one of those people if you're Jewish and you pray 3 times a day, that means you're being asked 3 times a day, what's on your mind? If you do it more times, or even if you do it less times, but at least you plug in, even if it's once a day, you plug in and you start to tell an entity that cares about you, what is on your mind? What are you thinking about? What are your fears and what do you need, of course, but beyond that, what is your purpose? Like when God says what's on your mind, I think he'd like to hear from us. What's on my mind is, why am I here? And can we have a discussion about what I'm supposed to do today? And prayer is basically also me talking to myself, saying, this is what I'm supposed to do today. I should be in line with these words of the prayer, that I want to have a relationship. Prayer is a relationship. So I really think that when God smiles all the time and says, what's on your mind all the time, he's initiating or he's initiating a relationship, which I truly believe we have an obligation to respond to him. He really wants to know.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that we believe that God already knows. One of the things he's omnipotent, he's beneficent, but he's also besides being all powerful and being good, he's omniscient. He knows everything that's going on. And yet he's still asking what's on your mind, because he wants me to talk about it and he wants me to express it. That's phenomenal. It's one thing for him to be curious about something, but he shouldn't be curious. He knows and he's still asking.
And he already knows what's going to happen.
And he knows exactly he knows exactly what's on my mind. He knows what I'm thinking. He knows what I'm going to say. And yet he's engaging in a conversation. And then I think we can learn it's a good lesson for relationships. Even if I know what he's going to say already, so I'm not going to have that conversation. No, have a conversation. First of all, you're not God. You may not know what they actually are going to say. Second of all, it's nice to let the person speak. And speaking is a relationship. Mm-hmm. Even if you already know what they're going to say, it's a healthy thing. I already heard all their stuff. I already know all their problems. I don't need to hear it again. Yes, you do, because every time you talk, there's a relationship that's going on.
Yeah.
And it might be something different, too.
It might be.
Totally different than what you think.
Right.
Right. Thank you for saying that, because nowadays a lot of us, especially with social media, we go more towards what the world says and other people's opinions and attention instead of going into prayer with God.
Yeah.
And we'd rather post, people will post about it. It's don't post about it, pray about it. And then talk to God about it then.
Wow.
You don't need the whole world to...
They look more towards the world.
For the attention. It's no, go to God for that. Or,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
If you had to explain your faith in one sentence to a stranger, what would you say?
In God we trust. I'd say it to a stranger because it's not a strange phrase to the stranger, because they are familiar with something that's right on the money. I don't know if people realize it or take note of it. It's all over our currency. It's on my license plate. I have it there too, because you're allowed in Arizona. You can buy. You can every year you pay for a specialty license plate, and I have that on the back of my car.
Oh, that's awesome.
I hope that answers your question, because now you know what I'm telling strangers all over this whole city, because wherever I go, people are reading that when they, pull up behind me. That's why I also have to drive carefully, because I'm representing a higher power. But, I don't want my faith to be limited to faith. I believe in a God, and he's abstract. As I mentioned before, I want to have a relationship with him. And a relationship, you can have a relationship with God if you trust him. If you just believe that he exists, it's still very abstract. There's like a distance.
Yeah.
I know you exist, you know I exist, have a nice day. In God we trust, there's something going on where I'm saying to God, I know you exist, that's obvious. I have faith, but my faith goes deeper. I actually trust you that you'll come through for me. I truly, truly trust you. And the fact that in the 1950s, I think, when America decided to put it on their currency, the fact that this country embraced that idea, it's not a Jewish idea. It's a global idea. The fact that they decided to put it on the money is phenomenal, because they didn't even say, we believe in God. They said, we trust in God. We truly, we have such a relationship with him that we're 100% sure he'll come through for us. And he has, for the whole, this country, for the world, and for us, and in many ways. And I believe very strongly that if we trust in God, he, as a reward or an exchange or in response to us trusting him, he actually does come through. He rewards our trust, even if we don't deserve rewards, even if we aren't the way we're supposed to be, and none of us are perfect at all. But if we trust him, that's like his biggest pet peeve is when we don't trust him. And I think what makes him smile the most and say what's on your mind is usually if we just have a relationship and say, I trust in God. So yeah, I would summarize it. I wouldn't give that whole speech to a stranger, who I don't want to chase them away, but I would say in God we trust, and don't be afraid. You've trusted other people, and that's okay. You're supposed to trust people. But if they didn't come through for you, they're humans. They're finite and they're flawed, and they're not perfect, and they're not omnipotent, not fully capable of helping you. They're not omniscient. They don't totally know your problems. And sometimes they're not beneficent. They're not good. They're not feeling good in a good mode to be able to provide you with what you trust them for. God is all those three. So if you trust him, you're in business, because he knows exactly what you really need and want, and he can provide it, and he will provide it if you trust him that he will. So.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Wow.
Amazing.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Rabbi, we have a special question that we ask every single one of our guests.
So you're not picking on me.
No.
It's nothing personal.
What are you doing for God?
That's a great question. There's if anyone who's watching, YouTube or anything, there's a massive discussion amongst more Hasidic Jews, but I'm sure it's going to spread. Does God need us? It's like a huge controversial topic. I don't find it to be so controversial, but my whole life, I'm trying to fulfill my mission of why God put me here. And I do believe that God, by me being born into this world, he's telling me, I need you. I want you, I need you. Otherwise you wouldn't have been. So if I'm alive, if I'm breathing, then I'm working for God. The way I do that is my interactions with people is pleasant. I try to inspire them. I try to let them inspire me. And all these things are part of God watching his creatures get along with each other and talking with each other. It's like a parent. You sneak into the toy room and you take a peek and you see the kids getting along with each other. Even if they're fighting, even if they're doing something bad, but they're sort of working together. They're working their issues out together. Or even if they're doing something that I told them not to do, but they're working together with each other. Every time I interact properly with people in the world, I think God is feeling like, yes, that's why I created humanity in the first place. I wanted to see diversity. I wanted to see, what's e pluribus unum? I want to see from the many, I want to see one. I want to see somehow from the diversity and from everything, I want to see people coming together, and I want to see the things in the world being utilized together for the purpose of making the world a better place.
Yeah, unity is definitely an important thing in the world
So
that we
critical.
don't have that much.
No, no, and each one of us that does a little bit of it, we're chipping away at that disunity that's out there. And there's a teaching in very deep Jewish mysticism, known also as the Kabbalah, that God desires very strongly to have His essence, not just His rays and His extensions, but He Himself would like to be here on this earth. From all the supernal, we believe in spiritual worlds that are out there, and many, many other spaces, spiritual spaces, physical spaces. He wants to be down here on earth, and He can only come here if we make it habitable. We make it comfortable for Him here. He's not comfortable with disunity. He's also not comfortable with sadness. Like he likes to be in. We study these things from the texts. He wants to be in a happy place. So when we're happy and we have unity and when we're doing good things for the world, He feels invited here. And we believe in an era that there will be a time when God will actually dwell amongst us. You'll feel it, you'll see it, you'll know it. It won't be something in the abstract. It'll be something tangible. And God lives amongst us now, but in a concealed way. He'll live with us in a very revealed way. So what am I doing for God? I'm building Him a home. I mean, if someone came to me and said, I'm willing to buy you a new phone. Thank you. I'm willing to buy you a new car. Oh my goodness. Wow, thank you so much. Someone's going to buy me a house? Someone's going to not buy me a house. Never mind. Build me a house? A house to live in? Like, that's the most important possession in my life. A house for myself and my family. I'm building a house for God. You're building a house for God. We are making Him comfortable down here. You know, we're setting the tone for Him to be in a place that's compatible to His will, which includes proper unity and mostly getting along with each other, amongst many other things.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because a lot of people, when they say they want to see God, or like Him through things, but when we see God through like the fruits of the Spirit or like joy and stuff that comes from Him, that's a way of seeing Him.
Wow. Brilliantly said. Would you like to come switch places? I want to interview you. You have such great insight. That's great. It's really great.
Wow.
Thank you.
That was crazy. Awesome.
I went from skydiving to talking about some deep concepts. Like, I believe that sometimes our purpose in the world is to do something that, at least in the way we see it, it was insignificant. Good morning. What's so hard to say good morning to someone and smile? But, you know, the barista at Starbucks doesn't realize how that person's day at 5 a.m, just the whole trajectory of that day switched around because of that smile that they gave. And I think that we're all, you know, I use that example because I remember when I was learning to become a rabbi, my plan B was to be a barista. Why?
Way.
Because when I went to study in the yeshiva I would go to Starbucks and get a coffee, and I'd get sometimes, not always, I got such a beautiful good morning, and I said to myself, if I'm not going to be studying, and I'm not going to be inspiring people through sermons, through hour-long, boring sermons, then I think I don't have to give a sermon. If I could just say good morning and flash a smile to the person, it's like I can make their day. Yeah. And if you make their day, they can make someone else's day. It's like a ripple effect. And so getting back to the question, my purpose in the world might be as simple as just smiling. It could be. I don't know. So what I'll do is I'll probably smile a lot. I'll also try to teach a lot. I'll also try to help people who are facing sentencing and possibly years of their life locked up in a cage, so to speak, you know, without their family members. I'll do whatever I can to do good, to bring good and bring light to the world. If it happens to me that I was here for a particular reason, I think I have a better chance of hitting that on that particular day that I'm supposed to do it, with that particular person that I'm supposed to do it with. I think I have a better chance if I follow the Torah, if I follow God's instructions. He gave us an instruction manual. You know, everyone jokes about, you know, when you have a baby, you're like, I wish someone would give you a manual for this creature here, how to raise it. And then the kid gets older and says, I don't have any like clear instructions about what to do. There's a book, it's called the Torah, and you look inside the Torah, and there's 7 laws of Noah for people who don't have to follow the Torah because they weren't at Mount Sinai, because they're not Jewish, and they have to follow the 7 laws of Noah, which means, you know, to believe in one God, and to not to blaspheme, to respect God, to respect life and not kill, to respect people's possessions and not steal, to respect family life and not commit adultery. I got 5 down, right? And then not to eat from an animal in an inhumane way by ripping off a limb before it was slaughtered or before it was killed properly, humanely, and to establish courts of law. Those are the 7 laws of Noah. establish charity and all the other important social deeds that you're supposed to fulfill. That's my purpose in the world, to teach people about those, which hopefully I just did.
You did.
I'm reaching a broader audience, and I'm always, if I get into an Uber, I'll tell the driver that. If they're Jewish, I'll tell them they should do more and put on tefillin. If it's a Jewish woman, I'll ask them to light Shabbat candles on Friday evening, 18 minutes before sunset, because my purpose is to be, what does God want from me? And do people want to? You said people want to see God. I can deliver God to people if I can. All I have to do is smile or just show them that abiding with God's laws goes together with being a happy person and smiling at them and saying good morning. All those things tie into my mission. So that's my sense of purpose is fulfilled when I have a day of doing what God wants from me. And it's usually pretty clear what that is,
That's amazing.
on a daily basis.
We'll keep serving your purpose out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a servant of God, and I serve the world by trying my best to be a light to the people around me.
That's
try.
amazing. What's one life lesson you learned the hard way?
No. Where should I start? There's so many. With the Aleph Institute, I find that a lot of my work reflects back on me. When you inspire people, you typically end up hearing yourself and saying, well, I don't know if I'm employing that same important life lesson. So the life lesson I keep dishing out, which I've taken into my own life, and I learned it the hard way because one of the things that are difficult to do in life is apologize. It's very hard to apologize. I don't know why. Maybe I do know why. It's hubris, it's ego, but we have a hard time apologizing. I don't know why. We get stuck, we do something wrong. It's just some words that are backed up with some emotions, but it shouldn't be that difficult. It is, though. What I always tell people when I ask them to apologize to society at their sentencing hearing, in front of the judge, in front of the prosecutor, in front of their attorneys, I always tell them that there should be no qualifiers. I'm sorry, full stop. There's no, and I found that, and this is the lesson I learned for myself. I found that when I apologize to my spouse, my friends, it usually goes together with an excuse or an explanation. I'm sorry, but I had no idea it would hurt your feelings. Whoa, did I have to add that part?
No.
I could have just said, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, I don't know why you took it that way. I'm sorry, but it's your fault. It's like I'm apologizing. I'm not really apologizing. I'm saying it's your fault for hearing it that way. But that person was hurt, and you're apologizing for being, I'm here in this world to bring light to the world, to smile to the world, to bring goodness to the world. I just hurt somebody. So I need to apologize for being an instrument of pain, regardless of whether I'm truly at fault, there was intent, I was doing it consciously. So I learned from how I coached other people how to apologize. I fixed up my apologies. I did a lot. And I learned it the hard way because, I was starting to I don't want to talk about the things I learned the hard way in other areas of life because it's embarrassing for me. But this was something that I don't know if I learned it the hard way. I started to take note of the fact that my apologies were very shallow, and there were a lot of qualifiers. Also, a lot of times people apologize. I'm so sorry for, and they don't specify exactly what they did. So I think that's also important. It's another way to apologize is to really hone in on how you caused the pain. So I took note of the way I was apologizing, and realized that it's not really apologizing, and people are walking away from those apologies still feeling hurt a bit. So that was one lesson I learned.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's really good.
A lot of us have that issue
Yeah.
with apologizing.
That's
Yeah.
really good. And
That's
you
such
should
an
just
important
say-
part of life. It's part of our relationship. Apologizing, forgiveness, so you want to do it right.
And just leave it at the I'm sorry, but
I'm
not
sorry.
the but.
Yeah. If you want to acknowledge, you want to repeat what you did without getting into, but I didn't mean to, or, it's your fault for taking it that way. Just say what you did, apologize, and commit to not doing it again. And it's a process. It's not,
And that's something hard to learn. That's not easy to learn.
No.
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 That is not easy.
No. No, and it's hard, but it's extremely important because it doesn't just erase the past and get you back to neutrality. It gets you further. You're better. You're deeper into the relationship because you've demonstrated resilience of the relationship than if you never failed in the first place.
Yeah.
A proper apology puts you in a better space than you were before you messed up. It's phenomenal.
And you can learn
If
from
done
it.
right. Yeah.
You learn from it.
Sure. You learn how to do it next time and
What not to do.
what not to do, what not to say. Yeah.
All right. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten, and did you enjoy it?
Okay. Before I tell you this disgusting food that I ate, I'll tell you that I enjoyed it immensely.
Really?
Immensely.
Oh gosh, I'm scared.
When I got COVID and wasn't able to taste or smell, I jumped on the opportunity to take a raw onion and I poured chocolate syrup all over it and I ate it like an apple. I just started to eat it.
What?
And the fact that I was able to do that and then send that WhatsApp to all my friends, gross everyone out, my family, my friends, was the coolest experience that I literally didn't taste a thing. And I just chomped through I ate half of it at least.
Did it make you more sick?
No,
And you didn't taste one single
not
thing?
a drop. It
So
didn't.
is there a video of this?
Yeah, is there a video?
There is a video. I don't have it available. I can find it. I'm sure. I'm sure one of my family members saved it.
Oh my gosh, I've never
yeah.
heard of someone doing that.
It was like an opportunity of a lifetime. I wasn't planning to get COVID again, so this was perfect.
Okay, well, this is another good one. What is the funniest or craziest thing you've ever done?
Ooh.
Oh, that tops the onion.
Yeah, is there something that tops the onion?
Oh, yeah. Craziest, funniest. I don't know.
Does it gross you out now, like thinking back to it, the onion?
No, it's interesting that you could have such. It's a terrible disease, that and obviously some people were affected in terrible ways. But it was just fascinating that a virus, that I can't even see with my eye, can take away my sense of smell and my sense of taste, which is these are very important parts of tools of being able to interact with the world. It blew my mind. I mean, it was just an opportunity that I wasn't going to miss. I've never done it since, by the way. I've never eaten the.
You should try it now tonight. Go home, get an onion.
Trying to think, what was the craziest thing I ever did that I'm allowed to say in a synagogue. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Nothing terrible. I'll have to come back to that.
We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
The onion alone.
The onion alone's pretty good.
Oh no, there
yeah.
were definitely crazier things
really
than that,
good.
though.
The skydiving was pretty good too.
Oh, if you say so.
Will you sing or tell a joke?
I could sing a joke that I make my kids do. They love it.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I tell them that I'm going to teach them a new language, and they have to learn one word at a time. So how does it go? It goes Owa, Tanat is the second word, and I am. And I make them sing. You said I should sing a joke. I make them sing the whole 3 words together so they don't forget those 3 words, very important 3 words. And they sing it, oh, what a nut I am, oh, what a nut I am, oh, what a nut I am. And they burst out laughing. Oh, what a nut I am. So they love it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I wait till each kid is, just old enough to be able to talk, and then I pull it off on each one.
That's awesome. Have you done it to your youngest?
I'm done. Yeah, I have my 7-year-old. I'm waiting for the grandchildren. We'll do it again. Dad jokes, one thing about dad jokes is they're terrible, whatever. The one part about it is that the dads just repeat them over and over, because if it makes one kid laugh at one age, they forget to update their level of jokes. Now the kid's not 7 anymore; they're 17. It's not going to be funny anymore. But you just keep doing it because you either you forget or dads just don't. Dads are nothing. Dad jokes are pretty good. They just don't get updated with the kids as they get older, and that's where the kids get like their eye rolls come like crazy because like, Dad, I'm not that age anymore. Like,
Yeah, I've been hearing the same jokes for the last 21 years.
exactly.
Gotta keep going.
There you go. So that's the one that never really ages.
That's awesome. Well, that was it for our questions.
Rabbi, thank you so much for being here with us and giving us such a wonderful speech.
Sure. I think this might have been the craziest thing I've ever done, is go into a podcast without necessarily knowing what the questions are going to be really before today.
Yeah, I didn't really tell him anything. I just said,
yeah, that's pretty crazy, pretty wild. You could have asked me some pretty serious questions. It wasn't that bad.
We kept it PG.
Good, thank you.
Thank you so much. This was so amazing. We learned so much. Thank you for your
Thanks for having me.
And stay tuned for the next interview.